This is Radio TV Phono Nut. It's been an interesting week or so out here in the shop. First off, I've done a little bit of rearranging. I decided I wanted to move my workbench over here closer to the air conditioner because I've accumulated so much stuff out here that all of the stuff was blocking the airflow from getting to my workbench. So we solved that problem. We just moved the bench closer to the air conditioner. And I've had some projects that I've been juggling around, and there'll be some future videos on those later, including this RCA oscilloscope that I'm working on for a friend. I'm waiting on some high voltage capacitors to arrive for it. But while we're waiting on those parts to arrive, I thought we'd look at something else. And this is one of those modern day Crosley record players. Someone brought this to me for repair. Apparently they bought it used from someone and it worked when they bought it, but they put it up and didn't use it for a while, and then when they pulled it out of the closet after several months, it wouldn't work, wouldn't power up. He removed the motor board and found a broken wire. Imagine that. And he took it to the school where he works, and one of the technology guys soldered the wire back in place, but the set still will not power up. And these operate from a wart power supply. One of these, he said, came with the unit, and one of them was given to him by the guy at the school. He don't remember which is which. So since we know this is not powering up, the first thing we want to do is check the output of the wart power supply with our voltmeter and make sure that the actual power supply itself is suitable for the record player, as in the right polarity and correct voltage rating. And looking at the input jack, it calls for 12 volt input, with our positive being the center pin of the power plug. So yeah, you could buy a 12 volt car cord and take this on the road with you. You might recall a video that Shango066 did a while back where he took one of these in the car and had a little fun with it. Here's power supply number 1, and we want to focus in on that made in China wording there. Output 12 volt, 200 milliampere. Center pin is positive, so that should work. The current rating may be a little low. Let's see what this one is. Another Chinese adapter. His output is 12 volt DC, 600 milliampere. And it also has the correct plug configuration. So now we'll plug these up and check our output voltages. Here's wart number 1 putting out about 17.5 volts. That's about what I would expect to see under a no load condition. And wart number 2 is putting out 21.7 volts. So let's go with number 1. It has a little bit better current capacity, which would be more suited for this record player. Here we are plugged in, and we're not getting any power light, no noise from the amplifier, and on these, to start the turntable, you have to move the tone arm back to the right, and we're not getting any of that. So let's pull the motor board, see what's going on here. Here's a look at the inside. These are a little bit better than a Crosley Cruiser, but that's not saying much. There are the speakers. They're a little bit bigger than what's in the Crosley Cruiser, but like I said, still not saying much. And here's our slopped-on glue here that's holding the wires in place, and a plastic piece that is broken, likely from the turntable mechanism. Now what we want to do is check and see if we're getting DC voltage to the amplifier board here, and if we are, then that proves that the DC input jack and the wiring is okay. Okay, measuring the voltage here, we're getting absolutely nothing, so there's a problem with this jack. and it's very loose, which is not surprising. So let's remove it and see what's going on with it. Okay, the problem was indeed this jack, more specifically the positive terminal on the jack that connects to the center pin. This solder lug is just riveted to the center pin to hold everything in place, and apparently over the years some oxidation had taken place and the rivet was not making contact anymore, so I just simply soldered it in place, and we now have voltage there. And that little plastic piece that I saw rolling around was actually part of this jack. You can see where they actually, both pieces broke off here, but we can't find the other piece, so I'll just have to come up with a creative way to remount this jack to the cabinet. And by the way, you can forget about calling up Crosley and getting parts for these, because it's just not going to happen. Pretty much their policy is, if it breaks under warranty, we'll either fix it or swap it out for a new unit, but if it breaks after the warranty, then we're just going to pretty much give you the, oh, we're sorry, but that product is not supported anymore. You know, in today's world, it's not this is a discontinued product, it's we don't support that product any longer. So with that in mind, you just have to fix these the best way you can. Well, right now I'm waiting on the JB weld to set on that jack. I'm trying to reattach that broken piece, but right now I have the power supply feeding into this record player, and it's working. And it's working, so all we need to do is fix the jack and we should be back in business. Okay, I decided to take a little bit different approach here. I decided JB welding this might not be the best thing because the plastic could break in another place, so I just decided to drill a couple of holes through the jack itself, install a couple of bolts, and we'll just bolt the thing in place. And as you can see, I added some heat shrink tubing to the wire terminals, as well as used a little bit of electrical tape to kind of secure the bond. That way the connections won't break from ordinary movement. That's apparently what happened the first time. Okay, there we are, bolted in place. That's not going anywhere for a very long time. Okay, one final test. Power on. Unclip the tone arm. Start the platter. Met you on a springtime day. You were minding your life and I was minding. And when it gets to the end of the record, it stops. And in order to start it back, you have to move the tone arm back and click it back to the right again. And here we are with an LP. For you and I. Okay, well, it ought to be good to go until something else on it breaks. Alright, thanks for watching, and more to come later.